Begin this morning, though, with the latest in the investigation into Tyre Nichols' death.
That's right. Much of the country is in grief, pain, and feeling anger over the release of that graphic video footage depicting the brutal police assault of Nichols earlier this month. Protesters across the country gathered peacefully over the weekend, calling for justice and accountability. On Saturday, the Memphis Police Department responded by disbanding the Scorpion Tactical Unit, the unit which the 5 former Memphis police officers belonged to. They've all been charged with second-degree murder in Nichols' death, and lawyers representing 2 of the officers, Desmond Mills Jr. and Emmett Martin III, say they intend to plead not guilty. For more on all of these developments, we're joined by NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber in Memphis. Ellison, so facing public pressure, the Memphis Police Department announced that they're disbanding that Scorpion unit. And tactical units are not unusual for police departments. But what was their role and purpose, and how are people responding to this news?
Yeah, so the decision to permanently deactivate this unit was made this weekend. Memphis Police Department, they say that the chief of police here, C.J. Davis, met with officers in this unit who were not involved in this incident, and that they decided that the best path forward for the police department, for the community, would be to permanently deactivate this unit. It had been deactivated since this incident involving Tyre Nichols occurred on the 7th, but now it is permanently disbanded. Moving forward, the department has also said they plan to look into other specialized units. This particular unit, it was called the Scorpion Unit. It was formed less than 2 years ago. That name, Scorpion, it stood for Street Crimes Operations to Restore Peace in our neighborhoods. When it was formed, the police department said this unit would primarily focus on combating car thefts and gang violence in hotspot areas where they said they were receiving a high volume of 911 reports. Critics have said that this unit acted with impunity, that they were able to go into communities kind of heavy-handed. They were able to stop people for small infractions and use that as a pretext to then pull them over, talk to them, try to look for drugs or more serious offenses without having any indication initially that maybe a more serious offense was occurring. The disbanding of this unit, this is something that the Tyre Nichols family was calling for. This is something that his attorneys were calling for, as well as community activists. One of the attorneys representing Tyre Nichols' family, Ben Crump, he said that he had heard reports from other people that they say they were targeted, that they were harassed by this particular unit. The DA for this county has said he's not aware of particular allegations, but he said this weekend in an interview on MSNBC that disbanding, deactivating this unit was the right move. Listen.
I am not aware of any prior investigation of members of the Scorpion unit. That's not to say it didn't happen, but I'm not aware of it. But I do know that now I have heard that a number of citizens making complaints about the Scorpion unit. I know that units of that kind sometimes can, both in Memphis and around the country, can sometimes, I don't know, breed a culture of over-aggressiveness. And I think it's probably a healthy thing that the unit's been disbanded.
We've seen specialized units like this disbanded in other cities over the years. Atlanta, where I'm from, there was this very controversial unit that started in the 80s called the Red Dogs. They disbanded that in 2011. The police chief here, she actually was with the Atlanta Police Department and at one point oversaw that unit during her 3 decades within that police department. What critics say, these specialized units like the Red Dogs in Atlanta, like the Scorpion unit here, they say that they are going into communities more often than not Black and brown communities, and that the only thing that really makes them specialized is not extensive training, is not extensive experience, but is that they have permission, a longer leash, if you will, to go into these communities and stop people with little cause in order to try and find larger crimes. And that's something that other officers don't always have. Guys.
I want to now also bring in Cedric Alexander, Minneapolis Community Safety Commissioner. Thank you for joining us. So, Cedric, I want to expand on this and kind of talk about these units generally. And actually, first, I want to read some of what Ben Crump, that's the attorney representing Nichols' family, said. He's calling for an end to, quote, saturation unit policing, things like the Scorpion unit that Ellison just discussed. He also said, quote, these units can morph into wolf pack misconduct that takes away a person's liberty or freedom freedom to move akin to a kidnapping. Officers tend to focus on Black and brown members of the community. I think it's important to note here that these officers, in addition to those murder charges, were also charged with kidnapping. Do you agree with this assessment? And is disbanding these tactical units part of the solution? Could it make a real impact?
Well, it certainly can make an impact, but I think the most important thing to keep in mind here, and I think what we're certainly absent in this particular case, regardless of what they may call themselves or what they may not call themselves, anytime you have a special operations team that is operating or working inside any community to go after sometimes the more violent criminals, I think it's important to note you got to have well-trained officers. They have to be well-trained. They have to be disciplined. And the most important thing is that they have to have good supervision. And supervisors who are in contact with their behaviors, with their attitudes, the way in which they are exercising the law and how they're engaging the public. I think in the future we're going to get away from these types of strong names such as Scorpion and other names that local units may make up, and really move more towards the type of units that are going to be well trained, but at the same time are going to have to be far more sensitive to the communities in which they serve. Because you just cannot go into any community, even in a community that may be riveted with crime, and assume that everybody in that community is a criminal, because that is not true. So I think over time those units will be disbanded, but whatever personnel that are put into those communities, they're going to have to be far more sensitive to the communities that they serve. They're going to have to build relationships with those communities. Those communities are going to have to be part of their crime-fighting efforts, and you're not just going to be able to go in there and bulldoze your way through and violate people's constitutional rights and feel that that's going to be okay. That is not going to continue to happen.
Cedric, Alexander, and Ellison, Barber, thank you so much for starting us out this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.